The crypto market just got wrecked. We have just seen one of the biggest liquidations event. Almost $20 billion got wiped out after the terrorist news. Traders got liquidated left and right, and some altcoins went down 50 to 70%. And everybody was panic selling and everything was just dropping like crazy. But here is what most people don't realize. This might be exactly what Ethereum needed before it could get its last run. In this video I want to break down what happened and what effect that has on Ethereum. So let's just jump straight into it. So following the liquidation event, the market has started to recover a bit. But the main question now is this. Was this the drop Ethereum needed before it could get its last run of this cycle? In my last video I said October was Bitcoin's month, and that is exactly what we have been seeing so far. Bitcoin dominance is starting to rise. Bitcoin didn't even get close to dropping as much as some of the altcoins did. So Bitcoin itself is holding up really well. And that is also what we expect in these post-halving years in October. Bitcoin takes the lead and then Ethereum follows with an explosive move. Normally in other post-halving years, Bitcoin has topped out in around November, so the top shouldn't be in yet. And if Bitcoin hasn't put in its top, then Ethereum likely hasn't either. When we look at the weekly time frame, Ethereum has always set a new all-time high earlier this year, then retraced about 30%, right down to the bull market support band, which has been holding strong. Now if we look back at other post-halving years, Ethereum did the exact same thing, dropped about 30%, touched the bull market support band, and then ripped into the final cycle high. So while everyone is panicking over news, headlines and red candles, this move actually lines up perfect what has happened in other post-halving years for Ethereum around this time frame. People will call these moments lucky because there's always some random narrative, and this time it was terrorist news. But if you look back, there's always a history. No one remembers the narratives from 2017 or 2021. People just remember that Ethereum dipped down to the bull market support band before going into its cycle high. So where are we now? From here, I think the most likely outcome is that Ethereum will go on one last run before putting in its cycle high, before we start transitioning into the bear market, which I believe would happen sometime next year. If Ethereum starts breaking below its bull market support band, then yeah, it's probably gonna be it for this cycle. But as long as we can stay above these key moving averages, which we have done so far, I think we still have gas in the tank for one last push. Personally, I saw this drop as a buying opportunity. I didn't manage to get in right at the bottom around 3.4k, but I still managed to buy in around a price I think is good for Ethereum. And so far we have bounced again, so nice. Because when you zoom out, this move is almost as textbook as it gets. Historically, like we talked about earlier, October is the month for Bitcoin, and then we get to November and December where Ethereum and the alt market starts to take over. And right now the fear and greed index is showing fear as the time of recording this video. For me, that's always a green light to buy. That's one of my personal rules. If it's in fear, it's a good time to buy. If it's in greed, it's a good time to sell. Super simple. And just last week before this crash, the fear and greed was in greed, so I sold some. Now my price targets remains the same. I'm still realistic. I don't think Ethereum is gonna reach 10,000 this cycle. It's possible, sure, but when you think about how much time is left of this cycle, there is not much time for Ethereum to go that high, I think. 6.5k remains my target with a few take profit targets along the way up. I'm not here to call moonshots. I would rather be consistent than lucky. I still think Q4 is bullish if you look at the history of the post-halving years. But I know how emotional these pullbacks can get and feel. You see your portfolio drop like 20% or maybe even more, and then you start to panic. But if you zoom out, these dips have always been the best opportunities to buy. Meanwhile, Ethereum's spot ETF is still showing inflows, which is quite important in my opinion. Institutions are still stagnant, and I think that is super important in the long term. Another thing that is worth mentioning is the Ethereum Bitcoin pair. We talked about how this could make a higher low, which has now happened. It bounced perfectly off the bull market support band, which was the exact target we discussed. That's usually a strong sign that Ethereum is gearing up to outperform Bitcoin in the next leg. The next few weekly candle closes will be crucial. As long as ETH Bitcoin keeps holding those supports, it's setting up the stage for its final run before the cycle peak. If that breaks, though, we could see a slower move. but so far it's looking really good. Now, when the tariff news came out, the alt market got absolutely crushed. Most went down 50 to 70% or even more, while Bitcoin only dropped like 10%. That hit the total free divided by Bitcoin chart really hard. It dropped all the way down to around 0.28, putting in a cycle low. That's close to the 0.25 low we have been watching, the level that typically marks the start of a true alt season. It might bleed a little more, but with how the market has recovered since, I think the low could already be behind us. Now, not only that, but the total free minus USDC chart also swept the 0.2 found range. Again, something we have been watching for months. These kinds of sweeps usually signal the end of the bleed phase. We have also seen the others divided by Bitcoin chart hitting the same low as in 2017 and 2020, which is pretty wild. So across multiple metrics, altcoins have now tested their historic bottom zones, and that's exactly what happened before they start to recover into the end of the cycle. I get it, a drop like this can feel brutal, but you can always see how fast the market has started to recover. You check your portfolio, you see big losses, and the first instinct is that you just want to sell everything. But if you have been in crypto for long enough, you know these moments are just shakeouts. Every major bull run has that "oh no, it's over" moment. Tariffs, regulation news, ETFs, delays. Every time it's something different, but the pattern remains the same. Price dumps, weak hands sell, strong hands buy, and then the markets move up again. So weirdly enough, these tariff news have always been good buying news. If you are trading a lot of leverage, then yeah, rest in peace, man. It is exactly moments like these that reminds me why you should buy spot and not do leverage trading. Leverage trading in these moments can literally make you lose everything. So make sure to buy spot. Even though you can make more money with leverage, you can also lose everything because you don't own anything. But as a long-term spot holder, these moments are golden. You get to accumulate quality assets at good prices while the market is in fear. So looking ahead, at this point I think it really comes down to one thing, and that is Bitcoin structure. If Bitcoin starts breaking below its 50 EMA, that has historically been the first sign that the bear market is here. But until that happens, I'm staying bullish. Everything we have been seeing lines up perfectly what is supposed to happen in these post-halving years. The fear, the volatility or disbelief, these are the times where you need to be sharp and stick to your plan. Because when everyone is emotional, that's when the biggest opportunities appear. I'm keeping my head high, trusting the charts and the system that I have, like I always have been doing. Remember, patience turns chaos into opportunity. In the markets, those who win aren't always the loudest. They're the ones who can stay calm while everyone else is losing their minds. Alright guys, I'm gonna go ahead and wrap it up here. That's it for today's video. This correction might have scared a lot of people, but the history tells that it's just part of the process. And Ethereum might be setting up for one last big move. If you enjoyed this video, please remember to like and subscribe and hit that notification button. It really helps me out a lot. And leave a comment below what you think will happen in the coming time for the crypto market. And I'll see you on the next one.